What's up, everybody? So, it's come to my attention that the ESL Pro League and ESL have decided to announce another player council. Another player council. More opportunities for players, coaches to share their voice. And I'm guessing that they're doing this because of all of the negative press that the CSPPA has gotten lately, how certain people at the CSPPA are kind of losing their minds, and, well, how the CSPPA has been shown to just be kind of a bunch of shakedown artists. So this is ESL saying, okay, we need to try this again. And, well, they're going to go ahead and, have it here. Player Council. They've decided to create one of their own. And so, let's go ahead and take a look at this. As it's interesting. You've got a mix of players. You've got a mix of coaches, players in yellow, coaches in green. Moses is involved. So, we're not going to hit them too hard. But Moses is involved, and that's actually really interesting because I know that Moses has talked a lot about this in the past, and not only from the player perspective, but also from a caster perspective, because he was involved with Room on Fire back in the day when we tried to put together just this sort of organization for commentators and hosts, analysts, right, in the CSGO sphere. We tried to do this back in the day, and egos are very difficult things to balance out, and also intent. And also, I mean, the main issue that you have with these sorts of situations is that the people at the top of the food chain who are already getting everything that they want are the ones that stand to lose the most if things need to change in order to benefit those who are at the bottom of the food chain and who want to get up to where, they want to get up here, right? Where everybody else, where the top of the food chain are. And so that's always going to be the issue when you have these groups is that, well, you're going to have to find compromise and figure out how to find compromise. But as we've seen with certain players in the past, expressing themselves online, social media, on social media, it is kind of a case of, well, why should I care when I'm already getting mine? And this is just human nature. It's not even a smack at anybody in particular. It's not calling anybody out. It's just saying that this is human nature. When you're getting what you have already, the motivation for you to give up what you are already getting in order to help others, it's going against human nature, right? To ask this of people. And so this is the dance. This is the dance of these sorts of groups. And it's what we've seen time and time again. It seems like the CSPPA has kind of fallen out of favor publicly as they keep getting called out by guys like Richard and Thorin. So eventually it's going to work against them. And, I don't think that they have much goodwill right now. And so it looks like, given that ESL are trying to get out ahead of this and trying to take that next step and take the initiative in this kind of like winning over the fans, right? Because this is all just about getting fan support and currying favor with people on Reddit and social media. That's the main goal of this play from ESL is getting those fans on board, because if the fans approve of what ESL are doing, then more people are going to tune in for ESL tournaments and more people are going to show support for ESL endeavors, and ESL stock goes up in the space. And so that's obviously what ESL are all about. And, well, there's very little risk involved for ESL in this kind of play because, as far as the players are concerned, the vast majority of the time, the players just want to play CS and they don't really care about anything else. They don't even really care about how the teams make money. Just so long as they get paid, the players are happy for the most part, right? Because for the most part, the players are already getting everything that they could possibly want. They're getting individual hotel rooms. They're getting business class flights. They're getting their PCs that are, running a bajillion FPS a second. They're already getting so much, the players, that there's actually very little in terms of quality of life, improvements to make. And so actually, let's take a look real quick at some of these things, because now it's like I took a glance at this earlier, but I wanted to keep a little bit of it fresh, obviously, so that we can read through it together. And I did see an interesting quote from Moses down here at the bottom that I like a lot, and we'll take a look at that. But like as far as with this newly developed EPL Player Council, the players will get the opportunity to learn more about the business side of the industry, understand how and why decisions are being made, and get proactively involved in shaping the league. But that's exactly what I just said, right? It's an opportunity, and some players will be interested in that, but it's also demanding more of the players. And the players really, they want to stream and they want to play. Past that point, barring certain exceptions, obviously, like Fall and et cetera, a successful businessman in his own right, you have certain exceptions to the rule. But the experience is that the players just want to play and then kind of be left alone. And so this is interesting. Some will find it interesting. Most will not. Advocate for change, improvement, and set new standards within the ESL Pro League for all participating teams across the globe. I mean, ESL already have have very good standards as far as the players are concerned. I mean, players tend to speak very highly of ESL events, and they have for a long time. So I'm not really here thinking that ESL risk much by putting this out here, because they know that they're already providing a very high standard for the players. And so this is easy for them to put out there. It's like, okay, fine. Help improve the conditions for current and future players by setting standards which, for example, include PC setups, practice facilities, accommodation, transport, hospitality, comfort, preparation, and performance. ESL are already very high up on the list on all of this as far as CSGO are concerned. I mean, they need to go bend over backwards for CSGO, because without CSGO, I think their company goes under. It's the only real thing that they have to work on. And so, contrary to other games that ESL have kind of struggled with in the past, where it's like the risk, the cost, right? Their ROI isn't there. When it comes to CSGO, ESL are just going to spend money because it has to be that way. It's their main bread and butter right now. And openly approach the council with ideas, feedback, and critique. We want to take our lead from the teams and redefine how players are involved in decision making. Yeah, great. I mean, get the players involved. I mean, they could, they can. I think the main thing here, perhaps, is just about providing more information to the players. And so you can see, certain players are already involved. So interestingly enough, Dupree is involved on this player council, not Zipnix. And so I'm guessing Zipnix is going to stay tied in with CSPPA because he's so close over there, and so that's his thing. But, Dupree is going to be the one who's going to be more focused here. So interesting for Astralis. Apex is going to be involved for Vitality. Again, interesting, considering he's being benched on the team and all that. So it makes you wonder about when this decision was taken as far as his involvement on this player council, because who knows what the status is of Apex over on Vitality right now. Navi, Blade, Moses, so we got two coaches who are involved. I like that. I feel like the coaches are going to have a little bit more time, perhaps, instead of, everything that the players have to do in terms of just DM, study, prac, all that. The coaches may have a little bit more time to have these kinds of conversations. And obviously they want what's best for the players. So, I'm liking that certain teams have decided to go with the coaches instead of the players, just so that, the players can focus more on the game. But, Nexa for G2, Kita's got Kita, another coach for Complexity, Kerrigan for FaZe. I mean, Kerrigan's dad, so, why not? Mithra and Zeus for, Mouse Sports and EG. Zeus makes perfect sense. He's done it all, been a player. He's been on the cutting edge for years, one of the more respected coaches in the scene, so it makes perfect sense to have him there. Hampus for NIP, interesting, in-game leader. So, obviously wants to, I think Hampus seems to me like the kind of guy who doesn't have that ego and who would want to find out more about how things are run. And he's perfectly placed for it. So I'm very interested to see, what Hampus takes away from this sort of thing, if he does get anything from it. And Fnatic, Samuelson, coach, and Dodo for ENTS. Dodo, veteran on the Finnish side, making his moves up the hierarchy there. Was on Havu at the beginning of the year, and now he's over here on ENTS. So looking forward to seeing how what Dodo gets out of it, because he's the first quote. And it's not to knock Dodo, but it does kind of feel like Dodo is one of those players. Like, you have some veteran players who've been around forever, Apex, Dupree, like they've seen it all. They're salty beasts, right? Whereas Dodo, kind of a little bit new to the party, not having been around at the elite scene for that long. And it does kind of come through a little bit. And the reason why I say that is just, the first meeting already gave us a flavor of what we can expect. It is refreshing to be on the inside and trusted. For whatever reason, this isn't necessarily, it is a bit of a knock on Dodo, but I'm like, I just get this as like, you've been upgraded from the kids' table at the family dinner, and now you're sitting at the table with the adults, and you're just like, woo, you're so excited. I mean, it's good though. I'm glad, and I hope that this is the truth, right? That they are on the inside and that they are being trusted with information, because I feel like that is one thing that is hard to come by in esports, is trust. Because there's so many leaks, people have been burned so much, that getting trust in esports, if you have trust, it's like in the real world where, it's like, oh, just trust me, right? Some of the most dangerous words somebody can say to you, right? Just trust me. It's like you gotta earn that trust. Well, if these players are getting trusted, right, with the process, that's interesting. I think that actually bodes pretty well. So I'm happy to hear about that, and hopefully, for Dodo, players like Dodo who are going to get a bit of a crash course in what it is to deal with the elite of the scene. This is going to be one of those enlightening experiences. So here we have the kind of like new take, right? Guy who's just getting involved and who's starting to feel that. And now we go into Moses's quote. And, here's the salty sea dog, right? Like the guy who's been around. He's been through the storms. He's seen a few things. He's visited a few ports and had fun in all of them. But I'm happy to be involved in this new player council along with my colleagues from around the ESL Pro League. Yeah, see, he's already on it. I've had a tremendous amount of respect for these players and coaches throughout their careers, and it's awesome to work with them on this project. Also good. It's clear that both players and tournament organizers feel there's a value in improving the lines of communication between the two parties. Solid. That has kind of been like the criticism, I guess. That was a little kerfuffle there with like the team speak and the players for the CSPPA sitting out on blast because apparently they were going to sit out on something that had already been addressed between the team orgs and the tournament organizer months prior, but the players were not involved in that. And so you can see how there are still some lines of communication that need to be cleaned up. And so it looks like this perhaps is going to be that step in that direction where, the teams are obviously sitting at the table with ESL and now the players are being brought to the table and perhaps, these kind of issues come up and the players will have insight and they can't claim to be ignorant anymore, right? If you've got a player at the table on this or a coach at the table on this and that information is getting shared with you, then you can't really say, well, we weren't aware because now you are. So I'm guessing this is ESL trying to get ahead of all that and just trying to clean up the communication. Let's see. Similar endeavors. This is where you start to see the salty side come in, right? A little bit. The veteran side, where similar endeavors in the past have struggled or failed to achieve their goals, and there's a very real chance that this can go down that same path. I like it. Straight up. It's not the first time. This isn't our first rodeo. We've seen these kinds of player unions come together in the past. Player caster. It's such a hard thing to make work, especially when you're dealing with, let's take players who are at the top elite, Astralis, have everything to lose in this sort of scenario, right? Because they were the ones who would have to take the hits and sacrifice in order for teams like Ents, who are on the up and coming, to benefit, right? And so that's always going to be the balance, the disparity between the two, where you have the elite players who are up here and the players who want to get up to that elite level, right? And so, it's a very hard dance to make work. It is possible, but it's by no means easy. And I like that Moses acknowledges that. He's not just going with the usual, super positive, only positive boilerplate, answer where it's just like, oh, everybody, this is going to be fantastic and we just cannot wait to get started. It's at least he's putting it out there where it's like, listen, we're aware that this is hard to do. We've seen this before in the past. It's by no means easy. And well, we're going to try here and we'll see. Because he continues, I find hope that despite the struggles in the past, there are many who continue to see the value in developing a council such as this. I am cautiously optimistic that we can improve current conditions and identify new opportunities to align the well-being of the players with the growth of the Pro League ecosystem. And I like this from Moses because, perhaps there's things that I'm unaware of, but at the elite level of CS, what are you going to improve really? I don't know. Is it revenue? Is it rev share? Like, what is it that you're going to improve? Because in terms of quality of life, right, what we talked about earlier, help improve the conditions, right? This is all pretty stellar right now. Like they are getting their individual rooms. They are getting essentially all of the creature comforts. They're getting business class flights. They're like, it's all really good right now for the players on this level. So it makes you wonder, like, what else is there to improve? Is it going to be like marketing deals that are going to come through, more money for the players in those deals? Is that what's happening here? I mean, it's going to be the question that we have to find out here. Like, what's going to happen in terms of like where they can actually find growth and find something that's big enough a difference, right, where they get to shout about it and get that PR that they want with this move, so that they get to say, hey, look at us ESL, look at what we're doing with the players, look at what we're doing with the teams. How awesome are we, right? That's the whole point of this. And so, I'm curious to see where it is that they managed to actually find a big enough step up for everybody involved where they get to kind of crow about it from the rooftops, because that is going to be the big play. And that's what, ESL are aiming for here. So everybody wins in that scenario. Sure, I'm kind of like, obviously poking ESL a little bit, but, everybody wins in that scenario, because if the players and the teams and the TOs all get to benefit, that sounds great for us in the scene, right? And so, actually hoping that this does actually work. I kind of agree with Moses to be just a little bit careful about it, a little not cynical, but just saying, we've been here before. This isn't our first dance. But if you can remember, the steps and you can actually, dance in tune with the music this time, this could benefit all of us and it could be really cool to see. So quick thoughts, on this player council for Pro League. And well, I hope it pans out. I really do. I really hope that we see something beneficial come from this for the players, for the team organizers. And I hope that us as fans, get to benefit, and that we don't find ourselves in a similar situation where we're getting held hostage by the players at the 11th hour because of some miscommunication that was unclear between them, the TOs and the team owners. And that leads to them boycotting matches, and we get left out in the cold as fans, because that sucks. We want to watch elite level CS, and So whatever facilitates a higher level of CS for all of us to enjoy, I'm all on board with. So hopefully that's what this turns into. And, we'll see. We'll see. But everybody, be sure to like, follow, and comment below. Let me know what you guys think. I want to hear your thoughts on this, your guys' takes, because these are the kinds of big, broad topics that are actually fun to talk about. And so let me know in comments below what you guys think about ESL's player council and what you think the players could actually ask for, to improve their situation. But I'll see you guys again soon.